Ooh, hang on. Sorry. Good evening. Anyway, good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Um, Friday night in the panel verse. So we'll see. Ooh, hang on. What's happening? Okay. That's weird. Anyway, yeah. Uh, One sec. So here I am. Hang on. What? It's not posted on social media for some reason. I have to figure this out. Um, anyway, what's up, everybody? This is the usual stream for the day. There, now I got it. All right. Lady Di, hello. And Daniel Barry, hello. I'm about to pull up the news. Haven't looked at it today. I predict something about the DNC and some overseas fighting. Let's see what else. Oh, yeah, RFK suspended his campaign that I didn't even know was active and endorsed Trump. Ooh, there was a knife attack at a festival in Germany because they don't have guns. Let's see. And then, um, yeah, fighting in the Middle East and Ukraine. And then there's the yacht thing. Okay, that's the news. The very short, um, I guess ADHD version of the news. The things I find interesting. Let's see. Why do you hate free speech so much? All of us. Um, I'm not sure who. I'm not sure who you want to come up and. I, I would invite you to come up and talk about it, but not if it's just drama. I'm not interested in that. I don't know what you're talking about. That honestly, you could be anybody because I've. But this is not a free speech panel. This is my panel. For me to have the conversations that I want to have with the people I want to have about the things that I want to talk about and that they want to talk about and that we want to have. Um, and I kind of use my judgment to keep those in the genre that I'm looking for. Oh yeah, frauditor. Okay. I hope that you. How much sleep did you lose over this? I'd forgotten all about it honestly. Yeah, if you and there's a comment box on YouTube. Like each video has a comment section. If you want to tell me something about the video or try to educate me about something or have advice on how to run my panel or feedback or letter to the manager or anything Karen related, that's the best place to put it. But to come up on panel and try to do that stuff, that's not the kind of conversations that I have on here. Yeah, well, yeah, I figured that out like month or so ago. And he's not the first locale, believe it or not. I've had some before him that have brought trolls. So yeah, if that's all you were trying to do, I appreciate the heads up, but I had already figured it out by that point. But honestly, the trolls are worse than the one single person because they're supposedly concerned that he's going to disrupt my panel, so they come up and disrupt my panel in the process of being concerned that somebody's going to disrupt my panel. And I find them way more disruptive than anything that Mike's done. I can manage Mike. All right, let's see. Oh, you work today? Hey, Moose, you lost sleep or is that overtime? I hope that's overtime, and I hope that's not your normal day. Is that for that training thing you're doing? Well, all right. Let me check Twitter, see if there's anything. Oh, and if I didn't say, it's open panel. There you go. Okay. You. Thanks, Josh. You too. You too. I appreciate it. And I don't doubt people's motives. I think people are probably well intentioned or think that they're being well intentioned. But I've been doing this for a while. I know how to I know how I want my panel and how to keep it that way, get it that way. Oh, okay. And you stream too. You're on all those panels. Hey Shady, what's up? Oh, hey Moose. Only if they want to. Um, at least click the if you're not subscribed or the like. I guess I don't have to get subscribers anymore, do I? Now that I passed the 500. Oh, I see you two know each other. Let's see. And I think okay, flow state streaming, and I believe that Speakeasy does the verbal combat later. Is he doing it tonight? Let's see. Hmm. Let me look him up. Verbal combat. Oh yeah, he's did about 5 minutes. Verbal combat's about to start. Oh, okay. Cool. You talking about broken system, broken trust, or broken trust, broken system? There's no doubt that the trust has broken down for a lot of people and is breaking down. But I just wonder how much. I mean, there's always going to be a subjective element to it, but how much more of that is subjective than objective? But First Amendment championships, he champions, he got me right there. What's a First Amendment auditor? They go around and they film. Oh, let's see. Oh, I'm reading the list of influencers. Um, they go around and they like film people interfering with free speech. I worry more about free speech on the internet, like on YouTube, Twitter. Hey, Tella, and kind of in the workplace too, where it's not as free because it's not government, but still being raised American and on free speech, and then having to accommodate to a workplace where they actually try to tell you how to talk and what you could say. Hey, Liliana, welcome. It seems like a chill Friday night so far, but it's only what less than 10 minutes in. Um, I really have nothing going on. Just doing like busy work, busy stuff on my end, life stuff, and hanging out with friends. Hey, Doctor Rimulak, I like the name. Um, Online friends, of course, not real life, real person friends. I'm still working on those. Um, I had more of them in Seattle, it seems, than where I am now. Even though Where I am now is a lot better than Seattle. Let's see to make. Oh, so some of it's content, it's production. Yeah, yeah, I can see that too. I guess it just this medium. You have to be suspicious. Like TikTok, same way of how much is produced and how much is organic of what you're seeing in a video, a supposedly spontaneous video. I can tell you that here on this stream, at least from me, because there are other people that may be producing. Oh, really? Cool. That's east side on the east side. Um, I am not. What you see from me is real. Like I'm not It's pretty organic. I just open the stream and I kind of react to whatever comes up on any given stream. I don't go in with it. Sometimes I have a topic and I might have little bullet points in my head that I want to hit on. That's about as produced as the content gets on my end. Every now and then I'll show charts and that kind of stuff. But everything else, I'm not here to create content. I'm here to allow content to emerge organically and to just facilitate a space for that to happen. Um, so if you had questions or doubts about what I do here, I'm very much on the organic side. I tend to not. I don't want to produce because it feels like it's creating it's artificially interfering with something that I want to see what the natural outcome is. And so if I step in and try to produce it in one direction or another, I lose that. Oh wow. I might know him. You know, there were people in public that would do that, and I would read about them, but that's before I knew about the internet or the panelverse or what all that was. He does, but he doesn't take it anywhere that I don't let it go. And a lot of times when I pull him off, the wind dies down and the sail completely deflates, and then the little boat just sits there, it spins. So say what you will, but um, people can watch the streams and see for themselves the results. Um, you would love it in Louisiana. that's that's how all I grew up. I was the quiet one, believe it or not. I'm the introvert down there. And I guess I could talk for hours too, and without realizing it. Because sometimes when I have to monologue, oh, when I first started, when it was just me, before I had guests and co-host and all that, I tried to do an hour a day. I would just turn on the camera and I would talk for an hour just for the practice of streaming live. So I did about hour monologues each day until it kind of got off the ground. So I guess I can talk for at least an hour if I need to. Let's see. Moose. Uh, and you can come up too if you want. It's I have, like I said, no agenda, no production. I'm not involved in any drama currently that I know of. If people's making clips about me or dragging me into their drama, that's all behind my back. I don't watch a lot of the panelverse. When I'm not on, I don't comb the YouTube and watch a lot of it. And I find that keeps my mental health in a very nice place to be able to do this. Like, I remember a long time ago, the celebrities would say, like, don't read the comment section. Like, once you become famous, or like I watched a lot of reality TV and the reality people back when it was a bigger deal because it was ordinary people that were suddenly on TV and they would say don't read the comments, don't read the forums, don't read what social media is saying about you. And exactly, save the drama for the sauna. Yes. That's that's what that's what I would do. That's where I would put the drama. Or maybe that'll be our tier. It'll be the sauna tier. That'll be where all the drama is. I also want to have another tier where I do actual content, like with guests related to mental health, neurodivergence. But I have to build up the right following for that and the right kind of repertoire of panelists and stuff. So I think that'll come later. A drama tier might be easier to get lift off. It pretty much already is. Oh yeah, and I'm supposed to remind everybody we have memberships now. Speaking of tiers, right now we have the 99 cent level, which is the basic level. I wanted to make sure that's the lowest that YouTube lets you create, and I wanted to make sure I created at least one tier that anybody could participate in at the very minimum. Um, and so that's what that is. It gets you a badge next to your name. It gets you my favorite color green in the chat. I can see who all. Moose, it looks like you got your membership. Some under the did you get it under both names? And you can buy them for other people. So that's just a way of showing support if you want. It's like the little tip jar on the counter. If you want to support what I'm doing here, what you see here, that's a good way to do it. And we also have super chats, which those have only just begun. We have barely found the limits of the potential of super chats because I'm not sure how big of a whore I am yet, or I'm not when it comes to that. Only you can decide, along with me, autonomy, self-determination. Only you can incentivize and influence. All right, let's see. See, 17 minutes already of me just talking about nothing. There's 20 people watching me do it. Welcome to. Is it post? Are we in post modernism yet? That's got to be post. Somewhere past modernism. Or pre-modernism. Because you have Samuel Beckett. You have King Lear. Where nothing and nihilism shows up. Um, so anyway, yeah, I guess. But the point is, there's probably an audience for that artsy, philosophical, existential crap. Speaking of, I think Capgun and I maybe next week we're gonna watch The Waking Life. It's the kind of philosophical movie that Richard Linklater did after Slacker, which is another good movie. And they follow this kid around Austin, Texas, and he has philosophical conversation with all these people, and they animate it. It's the rotoscoping. So if you've seen A Scanner Darkly, it's the same style, same people. Richard Linklater did that one as well, except this one is philosophy oriented. Hey, Megan. What's up? Well, the gang's all here, or a lot of them. If anybody wants to come up and have a conversation. Are you waiting on the content to arrive? He hasn't been around in a few days, day or so. Oh, right. So okay, good. Cuz I was curious if people still did that cuz I remember that's what Friday nights were. They were the nights where you got ready and you went out and your night started early. It was like a whole cuz the clubs didn't start till like I think it's a I think it's a team effort. I think between the two parties, you're all the content. Oh, happy birthday! Well, hang on. Is there? Do I have any kind of birthday clip? Dang. Maybe I could do this. See if this works. Uh, there. This is for me. It's her birthday. Happy birthday. So you're going out to celebrate like with friends and stuff? Good. I'm glad. I'm glad that people are still celebrating birthdays. I'm glad people are still going out. I'm glad Friday nights are still a thing. I didn't know how much we had lost all that during COVID. Oh, okay. We have a guest, everybody. One of my favorite guests, in fact. Welcome, Anton.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
How are you on this Friday night?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I went out to dinner with the wife, her sister, and her fiance, and now just back chilling. And I think she's kind of fallen asleep on the couch upstairs. So
So,
just kind of cruising around on the internet. What are you up to?
same thing. Flying through the Panelverse. What? Let me something. Okay, let me get a look at you. Something's different.
Something's different.
The hat, the look, something. You,
Yeah, my wife told me in the car that as time goes on, I'm getting more and more blue collar in my aesthetic, and I don't know how to feel about that.
how do you feel about it? Is it intentional?
It might be. I don't know. It's I don't know. I've
There's
never
the
been a
Metro.
person.
That it's the hat then,
It
and
is the hat.
the beard. Because the minute you take it off, all the Metro comes back.
Yeah, that's right. I was more of a Metro growing up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just don't let me buy silver jeans. That's the only limit I got.
Like the brand silver.
Yeah, those are
Or
those are jeans for divorced fathers.
oh, I didn't even know that.
How you
So
been, man?
huh?
How you been?
I've been pretty good. I've just been doing my thing and enjoying it a lot. What about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. You were gonna say something? I interrupted you.
Um, I don't. Probably not important. If I
Okay.
was, I'm not
You,
conscious of it now anymore.
you were talking about a scanner darkly, and you were talking about
Oh yeah, the Waking Life, the
Waking
movie.
Life. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I have seen a scanner darkly, and
Oh,
I
you
really
haven't
like
seen? Well, you'll
the.
have to join us then.
Yeah,
Uh,
when are you doing that? I'll keep my eye open for it.
we talked about maybe next week. There's a guy that hangs out here, Cap Gun, that's interested in seeing it.
Okay.
So
Um,
yeah,
have
I'm
you
thinking
read?
about doing like a movie night every week where I show some kind of philosophically oriented movie or
That'd be really
intellectual
cool because then it would be
movie.
like a weekly thing that people would be able to
Yeah.
rely on.
So that could be our kickoff, and then we could
Hell
like
yeah,
do one a week from there.
cool man. Have you read any Philip K. Dick books before?
Not really. There's a lot of movies that it turns out were made from him, so I mostly know him through the movies. But I prefer Jorge Luis Borges, the Argentinian writer.
Oh,
I think he probably most of his stuff is maybe a little later than Dick, but it's more. I think it's more trippy and more. I think he does what Dick was maybe trying to do better than Dick does. It's
really?
more philosophical. It's more like makes you think type of thing, like question reality.
Because I thought Phil. I've always tried to compare Philip K. Dick to like a more sci-fi, um, like maybe Orwell or Huxley is a little heavy of a comparison, but it's very much like the philosophical dilemma gets you questioning things, and he was more during like the civil rights movement, maybe a little afterward. He was writing
That's what
during
I'm.
what, the 70s and 80s?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I thought he was earlier. So in that case, Borges did precede him because he was like 40s, 50s,
Because I
some
know
60s.
one of the reasons why he wrote A Scanner Darkly is because he had a lot of personal friends who got brain fried on LSD and had to go to like insane asylums and stuff like that, and that's what he based. That's one of like the underlying narratives in it. People going fucking crazy on drugs.
I heard about that growing up too. In fact, I know someone that did. I had a friend whose boyfriend did. Like he was fried. for life on whatever drug he did. But you'd heard that as an urban legend, but you met very few people who seemed
Hmm.
to actually be impaired from too much psychedelic. Like some old burnout hippies now and then you would meet, and they were just kind of fun and crazy, like like Ozzy Osbourne type.
Exactly. Yeah, they're
So it
they're
was
they're
kind
a
of a
little off.
fear. Yeah, it like they always scared you with that when you were doing the drugs, but the risk of it actually happening, I think, was I don't know. I don't want to say I'm not an expert in that. It just seemed like it was more of a boogeyman than a reality. But I don't doubt that there are people that have suffered mentally from it.
Yeah, I wonder how, like, setting aside like overdosing, I'm just talking about like brain frying. I wonder if the number of people who are like losing their mind on drugs is kind of comparable to what happened during the 60s and 70s, or if it is changed at all.
Like fentanyl and stuff. Like the people
Well,
you see in the
not
street.
necessarily fentanyl, but just like people who started out relatively normal and completely lost their minds. Because I know a guy who used to be involved in theater around here, and I would say that he has almost the exact same story as Sid Barrett, the original lead
Oh,
singer
uh
of
huh.
Pink Floyd. He kind of had like an incredible artistic creativity. He had a very interesting mind, and he was really natural on stage. And then for like 3 or 4 years, it was just marijuana and LSD and mushrooms like nonstop. And then you see him now, and he can hardly hold a coherent sentence together.
Is he still doing the drugs?
That I don't know. I know that he'll show up at an open mic sometimes, and he'll try to put on like a performance at like a local music festival or something. But he's a little far gone, that's for sure.
That's I haven't done psychedelics in decades, like 30, maybe even 40 years. And one reason I want is because of the mental health issue. Like I don't want to risk, I don't want to push the mental health issues because it like all that stuff comes up and it makes you face it and I don't trust my like I don't think I want to be playing with that. That sounds risky and dangerous to me. Whereas before recreationally, that's before I had all the trauma and I had way less demons than I do now. And even then it was risky. Like I had some scary trips internally
Yeah.
even then. So now specifically because of the mental health risk, I stay away from psychedelics because I don't know that it wouldn't have some kind of damage or effect. So I think when it comes to people with like mental health conditions or pre-existing mental health issues and they mix that with psychedelics, yeah, that's where you get your Sid Barretts. That's what I worry about.
Would you say that any of the bad trips you had were cathartic or therapeutic, or were they just bad all around?
That's so subjective. I had like the worst one of my life when I met the alien. Um, was scary, like frightening on an existential level, like on a cosmic existential level. And I would never want to repeat it, but at the same time, it was such a bizarre experience. I've never had anything like it, and so it had some kind of. It wasn't just a bad trip. There was some kind of meaning to it beyond the unpleasantness of the experience. So it's hard to just evaluate on like what's just a bad trip and what has value even though it's a bad trip.
Yeah.
But I do know I take all of that about as serious as I take dreams because all of it's coming from my own brain. So none of it is authoritative enough outside of that for me to like follow as some kind of wisdom or path that got revealed. It's all just my brain throwing up random
Okay.
stuff, just like in a dream.
Okay.
So as profound as it seems, I can't make any more meaning out of it beyond that. Like keep knowing that it limits how much meaning I could make out of anything from a trip, good or bad.
Yeah. It's it's interesting to me. I don't know how much I buy into it, but it's interesting to me. Like let's say Terrence McKenna or Joe Rogan or Alex Jones, when they talk about how when you do those kind of hard drugs like DMT, the hard psychedelics, how they kind of lift a filter away and let you not cross dimensions, but it's like there are things going on that your brain filters out. I don't know how much I buy into that, but it is an interesting concept. And it is kind of strange that you could give people the same drug and kind of ask them individually, independently, what their experience was, and they all talk about very similar things. I guess you could say that about alcohol too, but it's, to me it's a little different when it's hallucinations or visuals or something like that, when people are talking about having the same experience. You would think if it is your brain just throwing random stuff at you that you would get like wildly different experiences, and some most of the time you have people with experiences that kind of overlap, so that's why it's interesting to me.
Is it because we're all human, like we share a human body? It like, are you talking collective unconscious type
Yeah,
stuff?
like it could be, yeah, like looking at it through a Jungian lens. I have a tendency to do that. It does sound like it's tapping into some deep, archaic, like archetypal thing. But
Yeah, another explanation for that. Uh, Let me see how to explain this. Like the same images show up because we share similar story, like cultural stories. So we kind of draw off the same bank of cultural images. So it would be natural for certain images to show up across time in different people within the same culture, but then across cultures, certain common images continue to show up just because they're part of the human experience. So like things like food, sex, snakes, fighting, that kind of stuff. Like that's just kind of universal that all humans try to communicate to each other.
yeah,
And so I guess for me, all of it can be explained without hypothesizing a collective unconscious that it's all drawing from.
sure. And even if that is the truth, what you're saying, I think that's fascinating enough as it is.
Mm.
And so while those weird concepts are interesting to me, what you just said, I would be able to accept that and still think that that's incredibly interesting and
It,
worth
it,
investigating.
yeah, it still gives us like a common set of images or our story elements to draw, like to communicate it and be able to relate to each other. So still, it still forms a social function, whether it's collective or just common stories or common experiences.
There's a computer game that I had. I think I might have deleted it, but it was um it was a video game that really caught my attention for a long time, and it was about the evolution of all the apes and all the evolutional, or the stages of evolution that we went through before we were Homo sapiens. And it is kind of it was interesting to me because you would go through an experience like getting attacked by a snake or getting attacked by a wild cat or something, and you could kind of see these visuals like overlapping on the screen, and it was almost like you're seeing the archetypes like taking shape in the mind. I thought it was a really interesting concept to put into a video
What's
game.
it called?
I think it's called The Human Odyssey. I'll try and get the exact name. Video game. Ancestors, The Humankind
Human
Odyssey.
Odyssey. Wow. Okay. Is
Ancestors
it?
is the name of it.
How was it good? How is it good?
Well, I played it on the computer, and I had to get a controller to plug in, and I
Oh,
played it for a couple of months, and I wasn't very good. I didn't get very far. It's not a game that holds your hand, that's for sure. And I'm
so
not
it's skill
passionate
based. There's
video game
still
player.
You have to be able to.
Yeah, I think you have to be someone who plays video games regularly,
Uh,
and you've been doing it for a long time. I play a few video games from time to time, but I'm not passionate about it at all. But it was fun.
was it supposed to be authentic? Like, was it well researched or just a video game?
It seemed like it. It seemed like they were accurate with like diet, the things that they would eat. You would have to find those out in the wilderness, and then the enemies, the wild creatures that they might run into in those times in the area they were living in. Like some of the evolutionary stages are deep in the jungle, and then others are out on the plains, and you
Oh
face
wow!
different enemies in different places. So I thought it was very interesting, or accurate, I should say.
And do you eventually evolve into human and then start fighting with other humans?
From what I understand, the game ends when you make that final uh, step into being a human. I don't think you get to play as like a Neanderthal or a Homo sapien in its early stages.
Mm.
I think you just play as the ape stages.
I don't know how we know how much. Like we're definitely we're physical being. We have a physical body that we're influenced by in genes and chemicals and evolutionary instincts and drives. So I don't know how much. I don't know how we know where the limit of that is. Like to me, we're way more. That's way more a part of us than we realize. Still,
W- which part being
Th-
animalistic
that
or
yeah, all that monkey. Like we think we're human and it feels normal, but a lot of it is still circumscribed by the primitive, the primal, the primate.
yeah, like civilization as we know it with somewhat sophisticated markets and farming and roads and buildings, that's like less than 30,000 years, right? As far as we know.
It's pretty remarkable because we still have all those
Yeah.
savage monkey instincts in us,
Yeah.
and
And like
we're
we
able to do all that at the same time.
we left the trees like 3 million years ago. So like what's 3.3 million minus 30,000? You know, all that other time we were basically apes living, you know, hominid in a hominid lifestyle. You think that doesn't stick with us? I would agree with you. I think it definitely does.
3 million, you said?
I think so. I think it's like 3.3 million years was when the apes left the trees and started kind of walking like upright more and more, and their glutes started growing. Um,
Wow, that's a
I think,
long. So we're kind of our own thing by that point.
yeah. And this is more of like mythological thinking on my part, but I just think about when we weren't able to put into words the thoughts and the concepts that we had, as you know, unsophisticated as they were, we probably had some ideas and some concepts that we couldn't put into words or communicate. When we saw the first of us start to leave the trees and venture out into that area that's super dangerous, and you know, the first ape that takes up a heavy stick and clubs down like a saber tooth or whatever it was that, you know, is dangerous to us, a snake, and that started to give us the idea that we could conquer more than what we thought and become a more dominant species. I just wonder if that embedded in us deeply and became like part of our spirit and part of our I don't know, inherent biology. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but
It had to, like, I think all of that stuff would come to us in the form of images and feelings and like reactions to images, and it wouldn't be rationally articulated or even verbally articulated, but it could still be communicated in that form. And so for a while we could have this communication centered around these powerfully emotionally resonant images that become stories and eventually over time. But then that's like hardware, software, biology, and culture. Um, the stories like modify and socialize and civilize all of that biology, but they're different in different parts of the world, different sets of stories. So a person socialized with one set of stories is going to be different than somebody with a different set. And over the years, does that difference become physiological? Like, does it have the force of physiologic biology at that point? Like, if I don't know, because it seems like all that stuff, the software part, which is our experiences and what we're taught, and the stories, it seems like we experience them first. Our body experiences them, and then they're stored as memory. So they become, and that's all biological. The memory is a biological process. So it becomes at some point part of our brain system, at least. So, like the software part, the story part, the culture part, the images, the archetypes, all of that that kind of supervenes on the biological seems to become part of the biological as
Yep.
we encode it into ourselves. So,
Yep. I
so
would
that makes
agree
it
with.
very hard to tell what's not the body.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the main points that Jordan Peterson makes in Maps of Meaning is that we don't tell each other how to act and then we start acting that way. We act first and then we think about it, articulate it, and put it into words. And
Yeah.
even like wolves, monkeys, bees, ants, they all have a moral system. And something I saw that was pretty interesting last week. Um, I don't know if it's all ants or if it was just this specific species of ant, but they will, if an ant leads part of the, I don't know if they're called a pack or a group of ants. If an ant leads the other ants to an area with the promise of like a food resource or something, and they get there and there's nothing there, a group of ants will surround that ant that led them and they'll rip him apart, like legs, like all the legs and the head and everything. So it's like they'll execute him for giving them bad information.
For
So it's
wasting
like,
their time?
yeah, so
Damn.
it's like even ants have some sort of moralistic system where it's like, don't fuck with the tribe and tell us to go the wrong way, because I don't know, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Wow,
But
that is.
but like wolves and other animals have morals as well, but they can't really talk about it. They're just acting it out. And we humans, for one reason or another, have gotten to a point, maybe miraculously, that we can talk about it and put it in stone and analyze it. Whereas, that's a big advantage that no other animals have. But I agree with you that we would have to act it out first before we can really talk about it.
Well, we're not killing each other, I guess. Like, but were we killing each other before? Like, we probably weren't a bunch of pre-hominids just slaughtering each other all the time. But it seems
I
like we
wonder.
have an ability as civilized human beings to maintain our savage instincts. So if we have the impulse to kill someone, we have ways to not do that, like just internally within ourselves, like because we're part of civilization, we're part of a larger, sophisticated human society. So we don't have to act on those base impulses like animals, like monkeys. So, but how that happens, I don't know. But there's something that lets that happen for most people. And then the ones that don't, we have places we can keep them.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty marvelous that as a species we figured out how to do that.
I think it's pretty incredible that we are at this point and we get to experience it as it is. Um, I try and keep that in mind every time I flush a toilet or take a shower or, turn on the stove and there's heat and my house is warm in the winter and cool in the summer. I kind of think about all the hundreds of thousands of years and millions of years that the things before me went through, and now I just get to reap all the fruit of those trees that were planted, you know.
Yeah, and the Roman Empire.
That's right. The
I
Roman
think about
Empire.
that all the time when I take a shower and they, like, how did the Greeks do it?
Oh my gosh, dude. That's crazy to think about.
Well, what else? What else is new?
Well,
Anything
I'm
Jungian?
Jungian. That's a good question. Sometimes I'll open up a book from time to time by Jung, and I'll kind of look over the highlights that I made, and I don't know what to do with it. It was a project that I dedicated a year of my life to, and I don't know if it was just like a personal thing or if I have to do with something, but I basically just read Carl Jung nonstop for a year, and I don't know what to do with that information, but at least I have, you know, a little mini secret library down here where I just have a bunch of highlights and stuff. I don't know what to do with it though. I know I could probably do a master class on alchemy, but um, I would have to memorize the little meanings of all the weird phrases and stuff. And that's the hard part about alchemy, is that it meant something different to all the alchemists. Hardly any of them agreed on things. But
Oh, interesting. So was it even a common language?
no, that's the weird thing is there were some and Jung points this out. There were some alchemists who thought there were 3 stages to the alchemical process. Some thought it was 4, some thought it was 7, some thought it was 12, some thought it was like 17. Uh, and I mean the terminology that they would use to describe the alchemical process differed as well. Uh, Carl Jung said that the 3 stage, the 4 stage, and the 7 stage was probably the most comprehensive, and I think the 7 stage is the one that's used for individuation because it's in depth enough that you can start differentiating the stages, but not so complex that it's hard to follow.
Good thing we have science now.
Yes, Isaac Newton was originally an alchemist. Yes, and from what I've heard, Isaac Newton, of all the stuff that Isaac Newton wrote, maybe less than 10% of it is actually readable and understandable. The rest is like alchemical nonsense. From what I've heard, I've read nothing of his.
I'm is it the 7 stages of spiritual alchemy?
I think so. I
I'm
think
trying to
that's
find the stages to see if they match up with some of the
this
models
might be
that
a
I
little
use.
disrespectful, but it's kind of hard. I know that Jungianism has kind of been captured by a lot of hippies and yoga enthusiasts, and so sometimes you have to
They
wonder
don't
if they.
own they don't own Jung.
Yep.
I could still use it. Is it like calcination, dissolution, separation, etc.?
Yep, that's right.
Um,
Let's see if I can do it by so it's calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, coagulation. No, what's the final one?
I think it is coagulation. Let me see. The perfect substance is found in the most physical way. We observe a fluid state changed into a thickened mass. This process is a metaphor for the elevated self. And they have AKH, AKH.
And it starts over when you stop. When you get to the end, it starts over. Individuation is a perpetual thing. That's an important thing that should
Like,
be pointed out.
like you're continuously transcending the previous self, or it's a
It's
cycle.
you
Like,
could see it as uh, transcending your current self, but it's more like, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is the way that I see it. You're constantly like ebb and flowing within and beyond yourself, and you're constantly transforming. So like for a while you'll be funny, and you'll pack away the seriousness, and then for a while you'll be serious and pack away the sarcastic and funny part of you, and it just keeps going back and forth. And I mean, there's a lot of other elements to your personality that you kind of tuck away for a while and then bring back into consciousness, and
So we
that's
can
the
only
idea.
like enact different parts of ourselves at different, like we don't have the whole all at once, and we have to do little
I think
pieces.
that's the idea. It's really hard to extract that from a single Jungian writer, but from the Jungians that I've read, and from what I, can try my best to cross reference, it seems like wholeness is always the goal, in the same way that alchemical gold is always the goal, but you might not ever achieve it. But as long as you are striving toward it, that's what you want to be. You want to be, you know.
Well, while I have you here, this is something that keeps coming up. This male female energy thing, like we both have anima, animus, male female. What is that in practical terms? If a male wanted to get in touch with his female side or integrate his animus and anima, what is that? Like how does a man how do you separate the male from the female within the individual? And how do you get in touch? How do you bring the other one into consciousness and balance?
Okay. So it might be tough for me to talk about, because it's one of the things that I kind of disagree with Jung on. But
Oh,
the the best way to conceptualize it, I would say, and you probably know this, but I wouldn't think of it as male and female. I would think of it as masculine and feminine. Like, typically a male is masculine and typically a female is feminine. And like, the man has an inner femininity that has potential that needs to be tapped into, that society around him probably stifles and tells him to keep down.
but what is that in a
What
man?
is
Is
that?
it like being sensitive or crying during a movie or being compassionate? Like how why is that feminine and not just a male being sensitive or a male being compassionate?
um I think it's more how society on large, globally, would view the typical man. I can't think of a society that naturally, as it is, without any sort of ideological influence, would produce men who are externally feminine, as we would conceptualize it. When you leave men and women alone, for the most part, men and women act a certain way, and that certain way is different. There are ways that they overlap, but there are ways that they're very different. What is it in practical terms? I think you're kind of getting close to it by saying, being sensitive and being able to express your emotions. I mean, you and I talked about that last time. I still think that there's something wrong with that idea, but
It
because
feels
I
icky
think a lot
being
of women
sensitive.
don't really know how to express their emotions in a healthy way. I think they
Yeah, I was gonna say
overexpress
the
their
same
emotions,
thing.
and I think men underexpress their emotions. I think a lot of us don't really know how to have emotions in a healthy way.
Well, I think you have to have them first. Just have them at all, not
Yeah.
not try to fight them. So learn to have them, and
Yep.
then I guess what you do with them from there. But w- it feels it feels feminine, like if I were gonna cry at a romance movie or get all weepy, that feels feminine. It feels like a female thing to do, and it feels icky. I don't like it. It's not natural to me. It feels uncomfortable. It's not a normal emotional state for me to be in. There's a lot of resistance to it. Is that me not like resisting my female side?
See, that's the thing, is I'm not so keen on saying that every man has an emotional side. I do think that there are men who are low in trait neuroticism, and I think that if it doesn't come naturally to you, especially like when you're alone and you don't have anyone to impress except yourself, and just however it feels natural to you, that's who you are. And it doesn't mean, if you're not having an emotional outbreak or anything, that doesn't mean that you're unhealthy or that you haven't tapped into your anima. Um, it might just be who you are. Like, if you feel like you have to cry, but you take a deep breath and you keep those tears down, yes, that's you resisting. But if something sad happens to you and you don't really feel the need to cry, well, don't force it, you know?
Just because I'm supposed to get in touch with my, like, bring in that balance. Yeah, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
And I think it's a good concept, and I think for the time it was a really good idea. But I think now we can add a little bit of nuance to it, and I just don't think that every man needs to tap into a feminine side. I just think that, if the simplest way to put it is that, if you have a feeling to, I don't know, if you're a guy and you want to, like, play with kids and like wrestle with them, or like, be a little, and people look at you kind of weird, or I'm trying to
They
think of like an
probably will
equivalent
in
for a woman.
today's society.
Right, yeah, I suppose, like the whole PDF thing. I mean just like reading a bedtime story to kids, or like trying to put on a puppet show or something
Is
that just
not
seems a little
less
weird. And
masculine.
yeah, it doesn't seem very masculine. It doesn't seem very like tough and manly. If you feel the need to do that, or if you want to do that, you should tap into that, and that's you being more of your, I guess what people would say, your authentic self. I wouldn't really call it that, but I guess if you use the term the self in a Jungian way, then I guess it still fits. But I think
I,
today's
I,
society tries to force you to show your emotions even when you might not have them. And I think that's
yeah,
just
that
as
kind of
unhealthy.
stuff. I mean, I still cry at Charlotte's Web, so I'm not a complete monster. But like that, like women want to see a sensitivity that just may not be there for all men. It doesn't mean that they're bad or they're not in touch with their feminine side.
Yep.
I
Like,
I think you're right. Like as long as it's authentic, and I guess I've always done that. Like if I wanted to do a puppet show, I've always done a puppet show. I never checked in with society to see what society thought about it. But for people that do, and they need kind of that green light or that validation to indulge their impulses and explore them, and they might not otherwise because it's associated with different gender norms or something, then I guess I could see the value in that message. But it it's so basic to me. I've always done that. I've never needed to be told that. But if people who are not used to that need that message, I guess that's a good thing.
mm-hmm.
Like don't
Because,
not do the puppet show. Or don't
yeah,
not cry during the movie if it's authentic, if it's your authentic reaction. But don't fake a reaction either,
yes,
just because you think that's what people want to see from you.
yeah. Don't fake it, because society is influencing you. And right now, there's a lot of men who need to be told, don't fake emotions because society is expecting it from you. Because right now
Yeah,
we're kind of battling toxic masculinity, and we're kind of like encouraging men to show their emotions, and it's like, I think you're telling a lot of men who are low in trait neuroticism and don't really experience emotions to fake an emotional reaction because that's what society expects. It's like they're completely unaware of themselves.
they don't want every emotion either. When they say get in touch with your emotions, they don't want the anger. Sometimes
Yeah.
they don't want the grief, the fear. They want certain emotions.
Yep. They want certain emotions, and it has to be at the appropriate time.
Right.
because
That's why
because
I think people should have whatever emotions they have. Like I think it should be okay for everybody to have the full range of the emotional spectrum. So women
Yep.
can have their emotions, men can have whatever emotions they have. It should all be okay. It's just what you do with it after. Like how do you have it in a way that still keeps society intact?
Right.
Um, I can only speak for myself, and it's not all women,
No, it's definitely not all women.
but there's a certain subtype of women that make themselves very unappealing to me. They it, it's a boundary issue. They like cross boundaries where I don't feel like they should be. Like they insert themselves where I don't feel like grown people should be, and like the Karen types and object constancy. I find with women, and I'm generalizing here, maybe some gay men too. They don't like you can build trust with somebody and you can be their friend and you can demonstrate over and over that you're reliable and you're safe and all that. And then the minute one little thing happens that goes out the window and you're this big scary monster, they can't tap into this memory of who you are over the year, like this seeing you as the same person that you've been. When they get in this emotional state, you become a different person. So that's another difficulty I have with women is their emotionality kind of impacts the stability of how they see me, which makes it impacts the stability of having a relationship with them. I think most. Yeah, but there's this Liliana. I can almost promise you, you could find as many panels of women that have issues with men.
Yeah, and I think
I
it's
see more women having issues with men lately than the other way around because they feel empowered.
I think it's very important for the conversation that we understand that, not all women hate men and not all men hate women. And so I asked it in the chat, but I am genuinely curious what she means by that, just so I don't think like I don't misunderstand what she's saying. Like anti-women in what way? Is there something that we
But
said
that's
that are unfair?
subjective. Like what you find rude is not everyone's going to find
Oh yeah, it
rude.
depends on what panel.
And
You watch
there's women that are rude too. It's I don't think that's a gender thing.
like
I've seen
Fresh and
all
Fit
genders be rude to
or
everybody.
the Whatever podcast is fucking horrible. The Whatever podcast is so fucking terrible. And
How are you with Mike Cerrone?
are you
He's
asking me?
backstage. Yeah, he's backstage.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Oh, do you want it to keep going? Just us?
Yeah, you go ahead, bring him on.
Um, it's a lot of the audience comes to see him for some reason. Hey, Mike,
What's
Good
happening,
evening.
Jeff? Anton, nice to
Good
meet you,
evening.
my friend.
Nice to meet
we're
you, Mike.
Good, good evening. You like,
talking men and women.
yeah, remember like in the old horror movies, like you open the door, good evening, like
Good
the, yeah,
Like
yeah,
Vincent Price.
yeah, like you'd have like the lurch, good evening. It's like, oh, all right, oh, shit. But what's going on, everybody? What's
Just
the
talking.
topic? What's the topic?
Well,
I was
We were kind of talking about
Liliana was
masculine.
saying that she finds that a lot of the panels have issues with women and are rude to women, and I said that's kind of subjective, and I see rudeness from all genders on these panels. Like I've had women make absolutely hateful videos about me, so
if you want
it's
my
not just, and most of my trolls are women.
if you want my opinion, Jeff and Anton, most of the haters, the most angriest people are the women. Like usually guys can like, as we say, hug it out. Hug it out. Like you like in other words, you get mad for a little bit and then you just kind of like let it roll off. But I've seen a lot of women on panels like they just can't let stuff go, and they get rolled and rolled and rolled up. Now that's subjective. It's not every woman. I'm just saying,
Yes,
but
yes.
the hatred that I've seen is usually from the women that can't let a past experience go. In other
Yep.
words, you called me an a-hole
Yeah.
16 years ago, so I'm going to hold it against you for the next 40 years. So it's subjective. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, Jeff, I don't think good.
Well, I was just gonna say, like my wife is a woman who does not hold a grudge and is very easy to forgive. But I do have
Yeah,
to say, in my life, I have witnessed far more incidences with men where they go through an argument and then like it's not a long time before they actually talk it out. They figure out what went wrong, and then they get a drink or they start laughing about it and then they move on. And I've seen way too many women will just throw away an entire friendship over some stupid fight, and all they do is talk about that person behind their back to everyone else. And then
Yeah.
when they're like face to face, it's like very minimal communication, and it's like
I know
on
who
the
you're
edge of a
talking
cat
about.
fight. I've seen that in
Yeah.
my lived experience like way more often than with men.
It's almost like it's almost like a gossip thing. Like they have to gossip, but they can't fight in person. Does that
Well,
make
and they
sense?
use relational aggression too. They turn people against each other, and they damage reputations.
Yeah.
It's like women play chess and men play checkers. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a different paradigm to where sometimes people will use the chess board or the strategy to move people against each other. And other people like me and you, like me, Jeff, and I don't know you yet, Anton, but like if we have an argument, which me and Jeff have never had an argument, but we've never had one. But like I've had other people that I have arguments with, and we're like, you know what? This is stupid. Let's just drop it.
But we
Let's
don't
just
let it get to that point either. Like we know
yeah,
how to squash it before it gets there.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
said, because it's stupid.
Well, the thing is that you're different than most people, Jeff, because you're hyper aware. You can pick up on things before other people can kind of pick up on it. No, I'm just telling you the truth. So you kind of can see where it's going, and you try to navigate around that situation.
Well, I know
But
when things are petty and trivial, and when they
yeah,
have substance and are deep and going places, and I can tell that, and I know which like where I like to go in a conversation. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna waste time on the petty stuff if I can
yeah.
have a different version.
So Anton, let me ask you this: What is your main What is your main topic points like on your channel? Like you cover like a certainty, or it's just like open discussion? What is it?
That's a good question. I'm still developing it, and I'm getting distracted with other pies that I have my fingers in. But I think I would talk about Jungianism, like Jungian concepts. I would
Mhm.
talk about maybe not philosophy or intellectuals,
Why?
but I would talk about certain ideas in certain books written by intellectuals, and I would talk about like a cultural thing that's happening and how that would explain it. And then the
Mhm.
third thing I would probably hyper focus on temporarily is queer culture, because I'm pro LGB, but the queer side of things really gets my attention in a bad way, and I think that it needs to be talked about because it's not the
Yeah.
same as LGB, and some of them don't even like LGB. So
Hmm. It's really funny,
Me,
and
hang on real quick. Me, there's been plenty of women on these panels lately, more women that probably have ever been on these panels, and you're one of them. You're welcome to come up. Liliana can come up. Shameless can come up. So don't try to frame this panel that way. That's being a little
I think it would be
disingenuous.
a far more interesting conversation if some women got on here. So
yeah, they'll
They're
pop
welcome
in.
too.
They'll
Like
pop in every now and
it's
then.
not because of me that there are no women on here. So
yeah,
I'm not the one keeping them off. I do have all male only panels at times, but I'm
Yeah.
willing to have women on tonight.
But Anton, it's funny because I'm
Well,
a
y'all have all,
heterosexual
every one of you have come on with Mike before, and some of you have come on to instigate with Mike.
guy.
So
Right.
the
So
victim
Yeah, Megan is just
is only going
pulling
to
her
go so
normal.
far.
She's trying to pull her normal nonsense. It's okay. It's all right. She likes
It's all
to.
on stream. People can see the stream, so we
Yeah,
don't have to
yeah.
go
It's all
over that.
nonsense. But the whole
So
thing, Anton, is that and Jeff as well. The one thing I've noticed is that there is a divide in the gay community. There is like there are some people that are gay that don't like some of the liberties that some of the trans people are taking, and there's other people that don't agree. So it's almost like it's interesting to see, exactly who thinks what.
well, it's
You
two
know,
different groups, and I just
yeah,
don't want to be associated with a group that I have nothing to do with completely different goals and agendas than mine.
yeah.
But we're being associated like we're one group, and
I
that's my
think they would
biggest issue.
I think they would consider you, Jeff, as part of the homonormative culture.
The cis gay, what is it? Yeah, cis gay, and we're part of the patriarchy now too.
Yeah, because if you're
Yeah.
a gay man but you have a hat with an American flag, you're not part of the queer culture. You're part of family
Right?
and
Right, Anton? Like how dare you love the country?
But the DNC is taking the flag back now. Did you see that? They're reappropriating the flag for themselves now.
Yeah.
So the flag is
Oh,
not
really?
scary anymore. It's patriotic. You're for
Oh, okay.
Kamala.
It kind of reminds me of during the pandemic when people on the right wouldn't take the vaccine. They were vaccine deniers. But
Yeah.
and what was it called? Vaccine
Anti-vaxxers.
anti-vaxxers. But
Yes.
when the left started saying that they were nervous about the new vaccine, that was called vaccine hesitancy,
Mm.
Yeah,
and it was
Anton,
understandable.
yeah.
Anton, are you in Canada? I'm just asking because you have a.
I am in South Canada,
Okay,
Minnesota.
all right. I could pick up on the accent. And nothing, no disrespect, brother. I just like to pick
South
up on it.
Canada.
Yep,
It's
yep.
you
Minnesota.
speak? Do you speak French?
Do I what's that?
Do you speak French?
South Canada's not
No,
French.
I am in America. I was being a smartass. I live in
Okay,
Minnesota.
all right. I didn't know.
They don't have French people where he is.
Yep.
They kick him out.
A
They
lot of
get out of here.
a lot of
All white.
Scandinavians and Germans.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Scandinavians. But no, it's amazing, that people will hone in on certain things. But it's great to have a couple people come up that have different lifestyles, that have different beliefs, and just have a conversation without disrespecting each other. And I think a lot of the panels have a problem with that because people will just pop up, and Jeff can attest to this, and they'll just start attacking somebody and just derail the entire show. And like Jeff said this other day, if you don't like somebody on my panel, just don't come here. That's it. It's that simple. So go ahead,
Yeah,
Jeff.
I don't know why you would.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? What's going on? Let me think. I was watching the DNC. Did you guys watch the DNC? All the
No,
different.
I'm staying away from all of that. Would any highlight? Give us like two
I got a
highlights
sock
that.
drawer to organize, so I don't have that much
So
time.
Vivek Rasami, the Indian guy, which I think he's brilliant. He's a billion. He's a billionaire. And
Who is it?
I'm surprised Trump didn't take him for the vice presidency. I'm surprised he didn't. But he went there just to talk to some interviewers, and there's people behind him. You racist! First of all, this
Wait,
man
who?
is like Vivek Rasami, the
Oh, he
Indian
was
guy.
at the DNC.
Yeah, just to be interviewed. And there's these young white kids who you can tell have never worked a day in their life, yelling at him, calling him a racist. And this man is dark brown skinned. This man is a minority. And they're yelling at him just because he's interviewing very politely. It's
Yeah, because
dude,
he's
it's
just
wild.
like Anton said about the gay, like me being a cis gay. He's on the wrong side of.
Yeah,
He's the wrong
it's
kind of
wild.
black, and I'm the wrong kind of gay.
Because if
Yeah,
you support the current societal norms, then you're not a part of the queer culture or
yeah,
the new uprising culture. If you
Right, and
support
they
the
don't
norm,
get to define, like one activist subset does not get to define LGBT culture for all gay Americans, and that's the problem I have with them. Is there a vocal minority that are setting the narrative for everybody else, and people are buying it for some reason?
yeah. And the thing is that Jeff, I have people that are um, other lifestyle in my family. I do, and I love them just the same. But I don't judge them. I'm just, it is what it is. But you can still love somebody that has a different outlook on on what you believe, whether it's religiously, sexually, anything like that. You don't have to hate the person. But if you have a normal conversation with them, like you're not yelling at them, you're not putting them down, you're not saying, "I think you're disgusting," none of that. Like you can try to coexist and learn from each other. And that it's sad that we live in a society that we attack each other constantly. You know.
Yeah, like
yeah.
oh,
What's going on with you lately, Mike?
In other words, see, when I stop talking, it drops. It's funny. It's like I take the air out of the room. No, everything
Well,
is
no,
good.
Anton
No,
is
I
very low key. Anton and I's
No.
conversations tend to be very low key
I just
in
have this
general.
thing where like I'll stop and it'll go silent for like 10 seconds. No, it's just everything is good, man. Everything
It's
is
not always a
fine.
bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad.
Punctuated silence,
Yeah,
pregnant
I,
pauses.
that's Jeff. Man, come on, man. You should have been a psychologist, bro. You got all these no. You know exactly what I'm thinking before you say it. But no, it's one of those things where Anton, a lot, and Jeff, a lot of it's just like you come on panels, right? We will come on panels, we'll have conversations, and we'll add things. We're not being disrespectful. And I like to learn from other people. I like to learn. I'd love to learn from you, bro. I'd love to learn from Jeff. Like, Jeff's told me stuff about his personal life, openly and stuff like that. And
What
it's
do
like,
you want to
wow,
learn today? Anything?
to be more accepting, and to be more receptive, and be more kind. Because the problem is that and this is the problem, Jeff. I'm going to be straight to the freaking point with you. You let people up that are only there to attack me, right? And then I get irritated and I get pissed off.
Hmm.
And then I have to learn not to get pissed off. I have to learn to not let it get to me. And that's what I'm picking up on. That's my message. What do you gentlemen think?
Do you feel like feminine when you get in touch with your kindness? Does that feel like your feminine side?
No. It's more accepting.
And
With
it
me,
feels
so
okay?
Jeff, yeah. So Jeff, if you met me in person, my energy is like off the fucking chain. Like my energy is strong.
I don't have to
Yeah,
meet you in person
yeah,
for
yeah,
that.
yeah. But if you met me in person, it's even more. It's like my energy is like this. But if you were on the side of the road with a flat tire, I'm going to get on my belly and help you change the tire. That's the difference with me. I'm not an a-hole. I just have a strong personality.
Mhm.
And people don't like that energy. I know you like it. You like that strong energy.
Every where I come from, everybody has strong personality. I'm used to that energy.
Yeah. Mine is off the charts. But Anton, I can tell just by the little bit of time I talked to him, he has a very even keel about him, which is a compliment. In
Yeah,
other words,
he's very
you'd probably
grounded and
you'd
grounding.
probably you'd probably be a good counselor. You'd be a really good counselor. To kind of take somebody's and try to flip them. On their energy level. Jeff, stop it. Get your mind out of the gutter, dude.
No, I wasn't thinking that. That's just
Yeah, yeah, get
your
your mind out
idea
of the
of
gutter,
what
dude.
counselors do.
Yeah, no, but basically just try to persuade somebody into thinking something a little bit more positive rather than negative. And it's funny because people say, "Oh, Mike, are you on something?" No, dude. You imagine if I was on something, I'd probably explode. My head would explode.
Probably
I
so.
just, I just
This
have a
is your normal
very,
baseline.
I have a very high energy level. It's all natural. It's all
Yeah. Oh,
natural.
I have it too. I do.
Yeah,
It's a real thing.
yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. And I hate saying anyway because that seems like demeaning. When you say anyway, it seems like a demeaning. It's not. It's just like trying to flip the subject to something else. Um, oh, look. It's a mic secret. All right.
Well, I did
I'll be right back.
open the panel to any females that want to come up. Ladybug's here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's just funny. Jeff, it's funny. I like the army hat, dude. It's funny. Like with the antlers. You're
Uh,
an army reindeer. I love it. Did you
Chuck,
have
how are you?
Yeah. Jeff, did you have anybody in the family that were in the army?
No, my brother went to the like reserve where you go to basic training, but you don't actually enlist. They keep reserves. They keep you like if they need you later.
Well, it could be the National Guard, but you still go through basic training.
Yeah, it was something like that. That's as close
Yeah,
as. Well, my grandfather was World War II vet.
it's awesome. We have a lot of Army in my family, Army and Navy. We have a lot. I was never in the military. I'm only a contractor. I'm a civilian, but a lot of military in my family. A lot. Yeah, man.
Well, I guess the ladies can decide for themselves, but they
I
like
can
to.
drop down. Yeah, I can drop. It's no problem.
They were complaining earlier that there's no women, but then if they're not coming up, then don't
Yeah.
complain that there's no women.
What do you think? Let me ask you guys this: who do you think is going to win the presidency? Who do you think's going
Kamala.
to? You think so?
Hmm.
I think the United States government is going to win the presidency.
I think Trump's going to win. I really do think he's going to win. You know, I just think what Joe Biden did to this country with inflation and everything. I just think that the Democrats are soured in the court of opinion. In other words, like the generality of the country. Um, I think Joe Biden will go down as the worst president to ever serve. That's just my opinion, no one else's. I just think he's just terrible. Like he can't even
I,
talk.
I think other
Yeah,
people do have that opinion.
yeah, he can't even talk. He's like, oh, how can you fall? How can you fall going upstairs? What? Like what the heck is? You see when he walked into the wrong
Yeah,
entrance
but
at the
be
wrong.
careful because you could find the
Yeah,
same clips of like if you wanted to do a reel of Trump and making
yeah.
the same point, you
Oh
could.
no, they're both insane. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just like you have to remember when you used to vote for a president for like the person that's going to be the best for the job, right? Now
When?
it's
Never. I
I
never
would
lived in
probably
that world
say
where I was
I
voting
would,
for the best
yeah,
person on the planet to rule the nation.
I'd probably say back in the Bush Obama years. Way back, '08 area, '07, '08. Now it's like who can I vote for the least messed up? Like, who has the best like it's the
Okay, we have
crazy.
our female perspective.
Sure.
Welcome.
Hi, how are
But
you,
it's
Jeff?
Good evening. Good evening.
Hi,
Hi.
nice to meet you, love.
good
Nice to
evening.
meet you, Ladybug.
Nice to meet you. Hi, Mike.
Hey, what's going on? But
How
it's
are
almost
you?
like you're voting for the lesser of two evils. Does that make
That
sense?
was
You're
rude.
voting for the lesser of two evils.
I'm voting for the person that represents my values that I believe are going to enact the policies that I want to see enacted.
Well, Jeff, let me ask you
That's
this.
all I vote for. They don't have to be the best person in the world or sane or anything. They just have to be able to get the job done.
Jeff, what if somebody came up with a slogan, "Make antlers great again"? Would you vote for them?
What
No,
the?
I would no. That's I would probably sue them. That's my thing.
So what are your thoughts on the conversation right now, Ladybug?
Well, I'm Canadian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I mean, we do follow especially my husband, he's an avid follower of American politics, and I just kind of get the feedback from him. What I heard from him is that, um,
Kamala.
Kamala. So the whole I don't want to say production, but everything on her end has been so energetic and just bringing the people back to life.
They say that. That's what I'm seeing in social media too. But I feel like the Republican convention did the same thing for the
Yeah,
right.
Really?
that's
So
But is
definitely.
that
both.
where it's old men with their arms crossed saying, "Okay, next to speak is this old
Mm.
man"? Like I don't know. I self-admittedly don't follow American politics, so I'm not gonna like put my foot in where it doesn't belong. My husband is an
Yeah,
avid follower, and I mean, whatever happens in the States affects Canada.
Who does he think's gonna win?
Canada.
My perspective, as flawed and uninformed as it might be, is to always be skeptical of Republicans and Democrats because it seems like the personality type that is attracted to being a politician is the kind of person whose entire personality is a performance. So whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, most of the time when they're up on the podium giving a vehement speech and they're getting everyone riled up, I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited or buy into it. I'm always kind of taking a grain of salt with everything that the
I
politicians are
get
saying.
what you're saying, but we also have to remember there's how many thousands of people that will think otherwise, and their vote counts too. So if
Absolutely.
they're excited, and that's what gets their vote out for that party,
Mm-hmm.
then they're getting that
That's the
vote.
game. That's part of the game.
100%. Trump is shitting his pants.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I mean, he probably has been for a few years, really, because he's how much
Oh, I
old?
mean about the prison thing.
Well, I mean, for a lot of reasons. Plus, yeah. I mean, you
Yeah,
get to
that
that
could be
age, you're
that.
going to start shitting your pants, right?
Although I watched him
It was
survive
supposed to be a
that
joke. He's
shot, and
old, so
my confidence in his
I
pants not shitting
I
abilities
mean,
is
what is he
way
doing?
higher.
He's now like being looked at for treason because there was already like a treaty for um the immigration laws changing, and then he said, "Well, wait, no, that's gonna be my platform." So he
Hmm.
made that change. So now there's this whole treason
I didn't hear
um,
this. Is this recent?
investigation. Oh, my husband
You
is
talking about the
very, very.
indictment?
This is another one. This is whole new, all new,
I didn't
beyond
see anything.
the indictments and everything else. There's this whole. There's so many things. Like he, like what did he actually do when he in his 4 years? I'm asking because I want to know your opinion as Americans.
The
He
thing
was the
he
first
did for
president.
me that I was most impressed with was his DEI directive, which
And what
got
does that?
it helped push back on all of this DEI, implicit bias, unconscious bias, systemic racism, white supremacy crap that keeps coming out. But it got overruled by a judge for encroaching on free speech, and then Biden rescinded it and replaced his own, which
But,
increased the amount of DEI.
but what did that actually do for the country? Like, as far as people who can't afford to feed their families, because I mean, just over the board, not.
Well, that's not the only metric I vote on, is whether
Oh
families are
yeah,
getting
no,
fed.
I know, but I'm asking on that metric. What has
Oh,
he done
that I don't know.
for
That's
the general? And I'm not
Well, I
asking because I'm arguing. I'm asking
he
because I
did, and
feel
I can tell you during COVID, he did a lot
yeah.
of the COVID money.
And who paid for it?
Well, I don't know who
Sorry,
paid
that
for
was
it,
my dog
but
just
he
sneezed.
did it. It came from him, not Biden.
It didn't come out of his pocket.
No,
It
but
came
it
out
came
of his
under
pocket.
his administration. So you asked what he did to put food into people's mouths and all that. I'm saying during COVID, he
Yep,
released a lot of money to the
yep.
American people because I was one of those people. So
And
I
the
have
same thing happened.
direct experience of him
Yeah,
putting food in my mouth.
yep. And the same thing happened in Canada. And now we're kind of both feeling the same thing. Now we're paying for it because nobody can afford the goddamn price of groceries or gas or
Well,
whatever.
after that, though, Biden was in charge. So the
Yeah.
last 4 years are on Biden.
So Biden had to clean up Trump's mess.
Well,
well,
no,
I
you had
don't think
asked
that's
what did
fair.
Trump do to put food in people's mouths, and I gave you an example. I wouldn't call that a mess. I think that was a good
No,
thing
but I
to
mean,
have done.
but that's my
I
point.
might be
Oh, I
wrong. I
agree.
might be wrong. I might be wrong, but I think when Trump left office, inflation rate was like 1.8% or something like that. It was really low. Now, I think maybe
Yeah.
there's some context to that, but I here's the thing. I would not be quick to defend like George W. Bush or Obama or Trump. I would say that all of them were flawed in their own way and all of them had good things and bad things. I think probably the best thing, in my opinion, that Trump did with his administration is he's the first president since at least Clinton to not get involved with an overseas conflict or a war. We did not enter into any war that was going on. He did get into a social media pissing contest with the leader of North Korea, which was really nerve wracking. But I think that's a very important achievement that definitely goes unnoticed.
What wars were going on in his administration? During his administration?
There might be something wrong with your mic. You're a little fuzzy.
Oh, what wars were going on during his administration?
What was going on during his administration?
What wars?
What war?
Yeah, like you said, he didn't get involved in a war.
Well,
Can you hear me? Am I not? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I
Oh,
think I
okay.
make out what you're saying. What war was going on?
Well, you said he didn't get involved in any wars.
Yeah,
What wars?
there's perpetual conflict going on all over the world, in Africa and in the Middle East, and there's conflict with South Korea and North Korea. Maybe there's not bombs flying at the moment, but North Korea points its nukes places and says, "Hey, we're gonna fire some nukes unless you
Yeah.
follow our demands."
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not, again, I'm not asking because I'm arguing. I'm asking because I just don't know. And that's why I'm asking, because I want to hear the side from Americans, because I'm Canadian, and I don't have any Americans here to talk to, so I really, really appreciate hearing
Yep.
how you guys think and what's coming from, like, your point of views and what's really going on. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be argumentative at all. Don't take it that way, please.
No, I wasn't taking it that way. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with your mic. Maybe unplug your.
Oh, is
mic
it
and
is it a
replug it in.
crackling?
Am I crackling?
Yeah, there's something.
There's something.
With
I thought it was
Ladybug's
on my end. There's something buzzing. Is it you? Let me try to mute you and see if it goes away. Yeah, it's her end. Yeah, it
Yeah,
just started
Did I
buzzing.
jump off? I'll
Like
jump
like
down and come back up. This happened to me earlier tonight on the panel. I'll jump
Okay,
down
yeah.
and come back up.
Try that.
Okay.
That was
Yeah, I
funny.
just got back to my
That was
computer and I heard
funny.
all this static.
Yeah,
I thought it was me.
I put something backstage later, but yeah, it's all good. Anyway, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I don't know the
Infiltrate.
details. I don't like I said,
Oh,
I don't watch a
it's
lot of the panelverse.
it's pretty bad, dude. It's pretty bad.
Well,
Not
that's her reputation if she wants to
a,
be on one
yeah,
stream saying one stream thing and
yeah,
another on this
not
stream
a
saying
friend.
another.
The funniest thing is that the consistency that I have about this channel is that I never said a negative word ever. And people have tried to bait me into saying bad things about this platform. And I'm like, no, it's great. I love coming here. I love talking. I love having fun. I love having a civil conversation. I do. And we have,
Well,
dude, we have,
I appreciate you trying to keep the drama to a minimum.
yeah,
I think you
I
do a
have,
decent job of that.
we have opposite views, but I never disrespect. That's the difference. That's the only
Welcome back,
difference.
Ladybug.
Is that
Yeah.
any better?
That's good. That's
Talk
good.
a little bit. Yeah, the
Is that it?
static's gone at least.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Yep,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
good.
my battery was getting low on my iPad, so I plugged it in.
Nice.
So,
That's better.
what do you,
Yeah.
Mike, you didn't say anything about Jeff on Dan Banana's panel.
Well,
no, I didn't.
I don't want to do drama right now.
Okay,
I
no,
We were
didn't.
having a good conversation about.
okay. I
Yeah,
thought it was a
I
panel.
said, no, no, hold on, I'll take it. I'll take it. I said, I love
No, I
Jeff.
don't want to.
I
What'd you
think
say,
Jeff's a
real
great
quick,
guy.
and then that's it. I don't want
Yeah,
to do
I
drama.
think Jeff's a great guy. I do. Unlike you,
Okay.
that likes to bitch and moan on other panels. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay, that's the drama I didn't want to
Gotcha.
do.
Gotcha. So,
Sorry, Jeff.
what is the hottest, Ladybug, go away. What's the hottest topic you
Mike.
think? Yeah. What's the hottest topic you think right now? And Jeff, do you drink coffee or do you drink tea? That's why I wanted
Coffee.
to ask. Okay. When you drink coffee, is it black? Is it like
Black.
okay?
Oh, I think Ladybug, your mic might be doing it again,
Oh, is it?
Nope,
or
that's good.
some kind of noise.
Yeah, the infiltrators. But yeah,
I'm an infiltrator.
I think I talked about this with you before. I think you said you never had it. You never had Kona, right? You never had Kona
Right.
coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Never. What? Not that I know of.
that stuff is wild, bro. You'll be up for like you'll be up for like 4 days straight. It's so strong. Anton, you ever have Kona coffee?
Yeah, I've had Kona coffee.
No. Flip it. So what we got going on?
Just because I did it with you doesn't mean I do it with all women. I've already explained that. You see, you're trolling right now. You're instigating. So,
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. it's funny because like I don't like I never have like whenever I come on like I never have like my girl around me and because I don't want her to see all this nonsense. But it's all right. It's okay. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody.
Well, Ladybug, did you have any thoughts on the conversation we were having earlier about men and women?
I missed it. What was the conversation?
Oh, we
So we
talked about
were
a
we
lot of
were kind of
stuff.
yeah we were
Yeah, go ahead, Anton.
discussing yeah we were discussing masculinity and femininity in men and women and trying to find a balance between the two. And we were kind of talking about like current cultural behaviors, that kind of a thing.
Well,
Do you have any like initial thoughts on it, or?
I'm 49, so I'm a different generation,
Mm.
and it's a whole mess as far as I'm concerned. Like, um, everybody's afraid to say if they're a ma'am or a sir or a.
So do you have a
You look
problem?
at.
So
Sorry,
Ladybug, if a
sorry,
man,
Mike.
Hang
What?
on, hang on, Mike. I don't think Ladybug was done. Hang on.
I was just gonna say, like, you look at the Olympics, and there's just so much. I'm kind of old fashioned. I am very much believe that there's men and there's women, and I don't I mean, I'm okay with the whole, not so much transgender, but the trans people. I'm okay with that, but I don't think it's okay when it comes to Olympics and there's just a difference between men and women. There just is.
What is that difference?
Men are biologically, physically stronger. Um, basically, really, to me, I mean, I was in the very high-paced business industry. I was a financial advisor, and mostly men.
Go on, Ladybug.
Are you okay, Mike?
Go ahead, Ladybug.
Accredited, very highly accredited, a financial advisor for 25 years before I had to become uh, disably retired. But it was a man's world in all those years. The only difference I see between men and women really are physical. I don't see a whole lot of difference.
Emotional?
Emotional, I guess there is, but there shouldn't be. I think men have been taught to not be emotional, and I'm a mom of a son. My kid has been taught to, talk to me when you need to talk, let it out, feel however you feel. You feel whatever you feel is okay. It doesn't make you any less or more of a person. I just think there is, like, biologically, blah. I'm tired of my words aren't working. Physiologically difference between men and women. However, I think it's a big different world from where I grew up, from where you guys grew up, and where my kid is growing up. It's a really strange place. Am I on the topic of whatever your conversation was? Because honestly,
Yep.
I just
I think you're kind of
popped
opening
up.
it up. Yep.
Like, I just think it is what it is. Men are stronger than women physically, not always,
Mm-hmm. By and
and men
large.
have been, by and large, yeah, and men have been taught to, oh, you can't be emotional and what have you.
I have the opposite. Like people
Do you
complain that men are too emotional and they're scary. That they need
really
to like hold all that in. And welcome, Spike.
see? That
Yeah.
might be the difference in our age group, right? Because I'm
I'm
probably
just a.
what, 20 years older than you.
Oh no, I'm older than you are.
Shut. No, you're not.
Yeah. You
I'm
said you're
49.
49?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm 53. We're both Gen X.
You're a liar.
No, not a liar. I'm Gen X, Generation X.
Oh my god, I thought you were like in your early 30s.
No,
It must be the antlers.
it must be. Now you see where I keep them on.
No, I honestly really thought you were. Where would you get those? Because I think I need some. No,
Okay, believe it or not, there was like a little Satan store by my house that
God,
had a bunch of
it's
horns. Outside of that, I don't know.
no, but I don't know what kind of where you're going with that conversation because I
We-
did miss it.
We started out talking about Jungianism and how he had the idea that every man has an inner femininity and a woman has an inner masculinity, and
Yeah,
that
I don't
holds
want an inner
potential and
feminine.
it's something that needs to be tapped into. And we were kind of talking about how you could conceptualize that and how you would.
I kind of get that. Like, I kind of do get that. I do kind of get that, but I don't know if you can label it. I think it is just who you are and what we are, and I don't think we should all be labeled with different pieces of us and bring this out and put that away. And I think we should all just be who we are and embrace it. Like
Do you think if a man is having an emotion, let's say he's angry, it it comes across different than if a woman's having the same emotion?
no,
Or
I
it's
don't.
just a human being angry, it doesn't really matter the gender.
To me, it's a human being angry, and it's however they choose to display that anger that makes the difference. Because you and I could have the same anger, and I could be a hell of a lot scarier than you could be.
Yo.
For example,
Yes.
do you know what I
yes,
mean?
Yes.
So I don't think that. I think it is what it is, and I think that people just need to.
I guess that's what I'm
learn-
questioning is like
yeah.
why we gender, like when we say feminine side or like why isn't it
Simply
just a
genteel.
man
Yeah.
having a certain emotion? Why is
Yep.
it called a feminine side?
Yep. No, I get it.
I think we might be moving toward that, but I think the reason why we do is because for so long men and women just kind of acted a certain way without it being, well, maybe that's not fair. I was going to say without it being regulated, but
No, you're right.
There were some regulation. I don't know, but
No, you're
I
right.
think men and women just acted a certain way, and just like we talked about earlier with morals and animals having morals, you act a certain way, and then all of a sudden you step outside of it, and you start analyzing it, and then you write down how we are. And I think it's fair that I would just say for the most part, men act a certain way. There are some outliers. Same with women.
Yeah.
And the way that most men act is how we would define masculinity, and the way that most women act is how we would define femininity. And no one is like a perfect match, but
right, based on expectations of others is how we seem to have to appropriate ourselves based on what the media says a woman should act like and be like, and a man should be this big muscular tough guy, and the woman should be this sexual being. Like, there's just so many things that are stuffed into our faces day in and day out, which I think is damaging.
Yep.
But I think at the end of the day, when you come right down to the brass tacks of it, I think we're all human and we all have the same emotions, and we might express it differently, whether you're a man or a woman or anything in between. We all feel certain things, and
then what about the differences between men and women? Then do they just
well,
end
I
at
have
the
a vagina,
physical?
you have a penis,
But
there's one
emotionally,
difference.
we're all the same.
Jeez, that's a really good question. Because I've only ever been a woman. So I don't know how a man feels. But I've been married to a man for a really long time. So I kind of know how he feels.
Does it seem like he feels similar to you? Like, do you relate to?
I think because we've been together so long that we've merged. So we get each other. But I mean, I'm going back to my dating days, my younger days. And I always thought men were just retarded. Pardon the word. But it's like, oh my God, how do you not cry at this movie? This is crazy. And then you're thinking, I'm crazy because I'm crying at this movie. Like certain things like that, right? But I think that was the expectation, and I think the expectations are changing. Correct me if I'm way off
But then,
base.
if the expectations are changing, and
Yeah.
that's just the natural emotions that men have,
Yeah.
then the expectations are moving away from that, or that's not the natural emotions. That those emotions themselves are the result of expectations somewhere
How
in
do
the
you feel as
past.
a man? You lead me into this. Because how do you feel as a man compared to a woman?
It's kind of like you. I just know it as having feelings. I don't necessarily think
Yeah.
of it
Like it is what
as
it
a
is.
man feeling. But then when I see women have the same feelings, it just seems so different.
Yeah. Exactly. But I don't
People
know how to
are people, so why should it be?
fight. I don't know how to put that into words, but we're all different people. I mean, it could be
Love the Depeche Mode reference.
a man beside a different man could have completely different feelings and express those feelings completely different. But they're both men biologically. Like I think it's just person to person to person, not what your genitalia or your gender is. It's who you are, not what you are.
I
Quit
dated a
typing.
girl. I dated
I
a
hear
girl
you
back.
typing.
I dated
What
a
do you
girl.
think, Spike?
I dated a girl back in the day who only got emotional during Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Oh, Lord, how long did that last? How long did it last?
About a year,
Oh, okay. So,
I'm
probably
trying
11
to
and
so it wasn't a barrier.
I'm trying to think of what episode would have made her. Oh, the mother episode. Yeah, okay.
The one, so she cried once.
I cried once when his mom came and
Or how about when his dad came and left?
oh
I remembered the
shit.
father, like his real dad.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
That was fucked up.
Yes. That's what I was thinking of. And I had it backwards in my mind. I thinking it was the mom.
Yeah,
Right.
that was
I
really rough.
cried. That was
I'll come across that little clip on like an Instagram reel or something, and my eyes will start welling up. It's
yeah.
really rough.
Yeah. Because I have a son and I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
A lot of men will send in the men's groups. I'm in that clip circulates because of
Does it?
the message about fathers.
And what's the feedback?
It's a situation a lot of us can relate to. Like
So
men without that grew up without healthy fathers or male father figures, I think grew up differently than people that had that.
but I think that clip means more of the dad showed up, got his hopes up, and then bounced again. And
Yeah,
that broke his
he
heart
was a shitty. He's an example of what
again.
is not a father, of what a
I'd
father is
rather
not.
you be not around than be a shitty father.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Stay away if you're not going to stay. But, yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yep.
agree
Me
with
too.
Yeah. I mean, there's perfectly beautiful men who've grown up raised by a single mom.
Yep.
But I certainly wouldn't let a man come in and out and break my child's heart.
Yeah, because it definitely reinforces instability
Mm-hmm.
having that situation.
Do
It's
you
not easy
think
for it to grow up
is there
together.
something like is stability associated with men and masculinity, and that women have less or are less stable or able to provide stability?
I think it's the actual opposite. Because who always ends up with the child? The mom.
Yeah,
It's
some
always
of
the
that's a feature of our court system,
it's
but
always the mom
at least here in the
who ends up
U.S.
with the child, who has to feed the child, who has to take care of the child, who has to provide for the child when the dad f's off. So, I mean, I think it is, for the most part, stability comes from whoever is there to provide it. It could be a grandmother, it could be a foster parent, it could be a dad, it could be a mom. It being
That's true.
auntie.
I guess I'm realizing that there's two different types of stability now. There's financial, and then there's like psychological and emotional, and it can come from different people. And I guess I was talking about the financial stability, like a male could stabilize the family life and provide a home, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas
Well, I
a
made six
woman might
figures a
struggle
year. I
more
did
to
just
do that.
fine. It depends. Again, it's person to person. Like, I mean, I made 6 figures a year when I was working. Still make close to that on as a retired person.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, not every woman does that, but not every man does either. Like, and I'm not bragging about what I made. That's not what I intended at all. I busted my ass to get there.
Well,
But
you had. Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
it's not because I'm a woman or a man. It's just because that's what I did.
You had mentioned earlier. You said it was a man's world. What did that mean?
Well,
Like,
that
mi-
yep. When I was in my industry, climbing my way up, it was me against 10 men every interview I went to, every
oh, you
like
mean
my
just like getting promotions? You're competing with
promotions.
mostly men.
I worked with. I was lucky if I worked with one woman and 10 other men. In the finance industry, it was mainly men for whatever reason. It just was. I
were
can't.
you still able to get by on your own, like on the merit of your own work?
I had to, and I did.
Good. That's how it should be. Like your work should speak for itself.
I did, and I had to. And I mean, I worked my butt off for it, but so did the men too. Like nothing was handed to anybody. By the time I was climbing a ladder, it was starting to become more of an equality based industry. It was based on your performance and your how many like
It wasn't
diplomas you
always.
have. No, no. Think
Like if
about
you were a man, they would
Wall Street.
automatically wave you in.
Yeah,
Mm.
the women were tellers and the men were financial advisors, and that was my I thought I came through it through fruition because of my mom came up through the ladder doing the exact same industry that I did. And when she started out as a teller, and she was a teller, and then she got promoted to like the secretary for the financial advisor, and then but then by the time she retired, it was already starting to be an equality between men and women being able to do the same job because there was no heavy lifting, right? It was all brains and sales and dealing with people. But then again, I think if it was me and a guy becoming firefighters or bricklayers or something where heavy lifting and certain things became the deal breaker, I can't say that I wouldn't feel more safe with a man doing it.
So there is something about gender that beyond just the physical. Like
Yeah,
men are stronger, but we all have the same emotions. But still, there's something
it's the, but
psychological.
it's the, for me, it's because, again, I'm old fashioned, thinking that a man is just, in some ways, stronger than women. I also was a farmer growing up. So, I mean, I've had horses all my life. I can handle a horse, and I can handle horses better than most men can. But when it came to, you know, certain things on the farm, the guy had to do it. Like fixing the tractor. I wasn't getting up under that damn thing.
Yep. I work with a woman whose family owns they owned a dairy and now they do beef cattle. And she's tough and she can move things around and haul like heavy loads, and she's got a tough temperament and she's fantastic in that regard. But there are some heavier things around there that I need to do because she can't handle it. And
Exactly.
yep.
Can she
So
fix
I mean,
tractors?
No, I don't think so.
I
She
wasn't
can
getting under
troubleshoot
that
them
damn
in a
tractor.
basic way. She can troubleshoot them, but yeah, I don't think she can work on engines or anything. She has to
And there was,
follow her dad or her brother.
yeah, like there were some things on the farm that I was better at, but certain things that I wasn't better at. And I think that's okay. No, I know that's
Hell
okay.
yeah, tomboys are awesome, man.
It's okay. There's some things that we're just better at than others. There's some things I'm better at than men, and there's some things that you're better at than women. Like there just is. It just is.
Yep.
Sorry. If you don't like
Yeah,
it, sorry.
and
What are
yep, and
women
there
better
are
at?
some people who are outliers, but just because those outliers exist doesn't mean that there are patterns that will help explain, the majority of the population. I'm an outlier in a lot of ways when it comes to like the typical man, and so I can understand the outliers'
Me too.
perspective.
What does
But
that mean, outlier? What do you mean?
well, I mean, the typical things that a man would be into, like a lot of the guys around my age would be into, like
Uh,
sports. I wasn't really into sports.
into it, yeah.
Didn't really, and I mean, I even today, even now in my adult life, I have a better tendency to get along with women than I do with men.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it applies to everyone because everyone's an individual, but for the
Yep.
most part, if I'm in a group of men or a group of women, it just seems more natural, my conversation with the women, than it does with the men. It seems like there's a
That's
vibe
where
or a
you're drawn
frequency that I'm
to.
just not on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's funny because I'm the exact well, I guess you and I would get along great because I'm typically more drawn to, while I get along with all women for the most part, I'm typically more drawn to the men, except for when they're talking about sports, and then I go to the women.
Yep.
But I don't like talking about hair and nails and like I don't know, like I'm just there's just a yeah, that's a really good conversation because I've never actually thought about it deep down. I just have always been who I am.
Yep.
And if
And
we
and
get
that's
along, we get along. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. It's just
yeah.
who I jam with, who I gel with, you know?
Hell yeah. And I think that's the important thing about knowing who your authentic self is just if it comes
Yeah.
naturally to you and you don't have to force it, then that's
Yeah.
who you are, and that's something that you should lean into. And you
Yeah.
shouldn't do something because society expects you to act a certain way or behave a
Right.
certain way. You should
Right.
do it because it just comes from within. It's just a natural path you want to go down.
Unless it involves like crime or
Yes.
hurting other people, or
Yes. If it feels natural to you to fool around with kids, maybe not. Maybe
Oh
just
no, oh god no, then I'd have to really pull my boy side out and beat the bricks off you.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I get
Does,
what you're saying and I
Jeff,
agree.
but I would say if
I'm
it's
sorry.
natural and not hurting anybody, then probably just be it.
Well, I mean, look, I'm sitting up here with you two gentlemen and having just a fine conversation. And I probably couldn't have had this conversation with two women. And I'll say this was because I was just in a voice chat where there was women and men and couldn't handle having a conversation with them because it's like, I mean, most of them I could, but there's a couple women that you can't just because they're just like catty. And I don't do
Yeah,
the,
I've had to leave panels before
yeah, it's just like,
when that happens.
I mean,
And
you know what, Jeff, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this once, and don't kick me off for saying this. I give you a lot of credit for putting up with Mike because you've done what we haven't been able to do in years. Because that's all I'm going to say. Kudos to you.
I find him easy. I don't have the same issues with him that people have. I
He
don't find
behaves
him
with you.
difficult to put up with.
He behaves around you for some reason. He's a
Well, I'll
different
take it then.
person.
What more can you ask if he's
That's why I
giving
said
what people
kudos.
are wanting from him? That's not the
I
time
just
to
hope it's
attack
not.
the person.
I just hope it's not a facade. I'm not attacking him. I'm
Eh,
giving you
it
credit.
even if it's a facade, is it any more a facade than anybody else in the panelverse?
Good point.
How do we know who's really?
Good
At least
point.
with Mike, you there's enough doubt to not take it as like to be skeptical and just
Yeah.
take it for what it is. But I would apply that to anybody on YouTube.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Hey Jeff, does Just Frank ever come on stream, or is he mostly
Let
a
me
chatter?
tell you about Just Frank and coming on stream. He promised me. He said he's a monkey of his word. By December, by Christmas Day, he will come on and tell his tragic Santa story.
Okay.
And knowing Frank, he's going to drag it out
Every
to
time I'm on here,
11:59 on December 25th.
Ooh, who's Just Frank? I don't know Just Frank.
He's our troll. He is our Frank. If you haven't met Frank, he doesn't
No,
hang
I
out here
haven't.
much anymore. But he is our
every
resident
time I'm
troll.
on, he's just like always insulting me and saying that you should come and watch Survivor with him. That's all he's.
Yeah.
Is that the
He
dude that just told
hazes
you
and
to just bite me?
initiates all the new people.
Oh, did he just say just bite me to Anton?
Yeah, I'm not taking it seriously. I
Well,
just
can
think
I
it's
bite him?
You probably could.
How
He's
come he
trying to
didn't
get
tell
me to
me
go
bite
watch
him?
another Survivor. He's here
Under
to
my turn.
entice me off of here.
Joking.
funny.
Cool, cool.
Well, I don't know anything else. Or
There's
did it wrap
never
up
dead
after
air
all?
on my ear.
I was trying to think of like a follow up question related to the topic that we're talking about, but maybe we
Yeah,
found
it's not,
some agreement and some
I'm
common
not.
ground.
Like, just it's kind of what the left says. Just be yourself and stop worrying
Yeah,
about gender or what it comes across. But then
exactly.
they're obsessed with gender, so they kind of undercut
Yeah.
their own message.
Well, then let them be.
What's really funny is they'll step forward and they will accuse people of trying to define what a real man is and say, hey, why don't you just let people be who they be? And then you say, okay. And then the next thing they do is they start defining what a real man should act like.
Yeah.
And then if you don't act like that, then you're not a good person.
Yeah, well, you can't. You know what? You can't live by everybody's standards. The only standards you need to worry about are your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody else can take a roll and never mind. Everybody else can just do, you know.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
You just
The example that I have a tendency to compare it to is that, you know, I'm not in the best shape of my life, but if I want to go to the beach, I'm not going to sit there and think about how people might find me, you know, not that attractive or whatever in a swimsuit. I want to go to the beach and I want to have fun, so I'm just going to go. It's
you
not
look
up
pretty good
to
to
me.
me.
It's not up to me to ask society to accept me as an out of shape man. I'm just going to go to the beach and just fucking
Out
have
of
fun.
what part of you is out of shape?
My torso.
My torso. Come on. But you know what? That's like me. I go to the
I used to
Caribbean
have a
twice
6-pack
a
and now
year.
I just have a keg.
Yeah, me too.
The
Right?
part they hide under the shirts.
Yep.
My bathing suits have got a little bit bigger over the years, but I'm okay with that. I'm quite content.
Yep. And that's
Just
good.
stroll along and admire the beautiful women and the beautiful men and the beautiful bodies and the beautiful children, and like I just be admirable about who they are, and as long as everybody's happy
That
with who
feels
they are,
feminine.
well,
It feels
maybe
feminine.
I am a woman,
I would
so
Yep, I
maybe
would
that's why it felt feminine. But
agree
I'm
with
happy
that.
to
Bless you, Jeff.
bless you.
I thought I was on mute.
You
were,
were
but we
mute,
could
but we
see
saw
it.
you.
Oh, you saw me
No, but I
sneeze.
mean, I've been going to the Caribbean for
You can't
40
escape my
years,
blessing.
and my body isn't as what it used to be. But I don't like. I'm no shabby. Like I don't look like a Jabba the Hutt or anything. But and I'm happy with the way I look. Like I'm quite content.
Hell
And
yeah.
nobody's like barfing while I walk by.
You only
So
have the
that's
one
good,
body, so
right? And who
like
cares?
however you feel
This
about it, you're stuck with it.
This body pushed out a beautiful human being. This body has kept me alive through most things that should have killed me. I'm alright with the way I look.
Hell yeah.
And I'm okay with the way other people look. Like,
And that's a good attitude to have. I remember talking with some of my friends, and they would make a comment like if they're at the beach and they see someone who's overweight, they think to themselves, dude, have a salad once in a while. And it's like, and I had to like tell him, dude, you can't have those, like, if you have that
Yeah.
thought, like, you fine, you can't control it, but god damn, it's at some point you got to just say, like, that person's just a person living a life, and like, who cares what shape they're in? Just mind your
Why
own
do you
business.
care? Yeah. And you know what? That reflects more on that person. Because if
It's
you're
just it's
if you're
boundaries.
concerned
Like
about,
I think people
yeah,
have very poor boundaries between themselves and other people.
if you're so concerned about what somebody else looks like, that says more about you than it does about me. If
Yeah.
someone's calling me a fat old hag on YouTube, that says more about them than it does about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, it's just, like, be okay with yourself and be okay with other people.
Yep. And
That's
I
how
would
I
say
was
that
raised.
I would say that exact same thing for any kind of insecurity that someone has about,
Mhm.
you know, not being a typical man. It's like,
Yeah.
don't demand society to change their definition of what a man is. Just
Yep.
accept yourself as being abnormal or an outlier,
Yeah.
and just go
Just
out
call
and be
yourself a
yourself.
sigma.
Actually, actually, I'll counter that and say most men are the normal. The people you see on social media, on TVs, on movies, or whatever, are not the norm. And I, for one, as a woman, am way more attracted to a dad bod and a good person than I am some fucking, pardon me,
Oh yeah.
pardon French, some hoity-toity, muscle-bound,
I don't even like muscle. Yeah, I like a dad bod. I will take
douchebag-looking,
that any day over
right?
a
The
muscle
dad bod
asshole.
is where it's at. Dad bods are
Yeah.
hot. Mom bods are hot. Dad bods are hot. And that's how it is. And that's what the norm is. The norm aren't what commercials are and TV shows are. And those aren't normal. We're normal.
Yep.
We are normal. And we're hot. All
Hell
of us.
yeah, man.
All of
Cheers.
us. Smoking.
Well, I think that was a good discussion.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you for coming
Thanks
up
for
and
including
Anton
me.
and bringing it and
I
Ladybug.
don't know if I really kind of got into
Well,
where you're
at least we
going,
got
but
a woman's perspective, if not the woman's perspective.
aww,
Yep.
kissy kissy.
And and
We do what
I
we
appreciate
can
you
here.
coming on and sharing your thoughts, and I really liked this conversation, and I would be looking forward to a conversation with you again. So.
I would do it again. That I really enjoyed it too. That was really, non-evasive. Just a down to earth couple of buddies having a chat. It didn't feel intrusive. It was really nice. Thank you.
And this Tyler Durden is playing some kind of game because the way
Oh,
she's
she
framing
hates
it
me.
here is not what she typed in the back. So I don't know what she's up to. Or
Tyler
her.
hates me.
So okay, yeah, do what you got to do. However
She
that
don't
works.
like me.
I can promise you it's going to interest you way more than it interests me.
Yeah, I won't even look. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. She just does this everywhere I go.
Okay.
It's like Mike Cerrone has. Yeah,
Oh, you like the the female mic?
there's like
You have
two.
your entourage.
Well, actually, she's about the only one left that really follow. Everyone else is okay with me now. She's about the only one that really.
All right, I'm gonna let Shameless up for a few minutes and
Oh,
see
how
what
you
she has to say.
Samantha.
Hey,
Sam.
Shameless.
I just figured I'd come up and say hey for a second.
Hi, Sam.
How you
How are
been?
you?
I haven't seen you around in many of the
I
chats
know.
recently.
Oh, I never talk to you anymore.
Where you been hanging?
Nowhere.
Yeah, I figured. I haven't been around much either.
I haven't been much around.
Oh, I just saw your note. Sorry.
It's all right.
Okay, we were wrapping up anyway.
We
So.
were going quick. We were going. It happened fast.
Oh wow, Chuck. Okay. Hang on. Let me get.
Cool.
Oh,
At least get
nice.
some music going.
Wow.
10 new recruits from. It's not going to be exile. What do you
Amazing.
call exile after when everybody's in it? It's not exile anymore.
If everyone's been exiled, then no one.
That
Right.
was so generous.
Thank you, Chuck. Plasma, good to
gosh.
see you. Wow.
That was amazing.
So have you heard the conversation going on, Shameless, or when did you join in?
Yeah. I've been down in the. I've been in the chat a little bit.
You got any thoughts you want to share at all?
Cam's point of view. She is a man's girl.
A
That's
man.
about right. You know what I meant.
Shameless is
Oh, Sam and I are friends.
Yeah.
man's girl. Is that trad now? Is that called trad?
What's it called? You are a supporter of men's rights.
Yes.
Are you a honey badger?
Yes, honey.
Oh
badger.
my God! Okay, we love you. I was looking for some honey badgers. We watched the Red Pill documentary like a month or so ago, and I said I need to find some honey badgers. Those are the women.
What's a honey badger?
It's a woman that advocates men's rights.
Oh, okay.
They're like red-pilled women. They support men.
Yeah.
They recognize the issues that men face, and they support men. They're like allies for
Okay.
men.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
14 years.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's awesome.
Long
man.
time. Basically, almost my whole entire adult life.
Will you come up one day and talk?
I would
want to
love to.
hear. I want to hear your story.
Absolutely. I can, tell you how why I got into that and, all that.
I don't even know this story.
No. Oh,
No.
I mean, as you can assume, I won't go into too much detail, so don't spoil it. But it's a lot of obviously my experiences throughout my life and childhood.
Trump.
It kind of pushes you into that direction, what you see. So, but
Sam is a really smart girl, you guys. You should really pay attention to what she says. She's super, super intuitive and astute and really hangs her hat where the heartbeat of things are, if that makes sense.
Oh, she's here.
Yep. I think I know what you're getting at.
Well, welcome, Shameless. Yeah, she's come up before.
Yeah, I did. I did come up, even though I don't really come up very often, but I did come up the other day, I believe, to talk about the male. Actually, I came up and about the male-female differences, because, and I think I mentioned that day that male-female dynamics is something that I'm really passionate about. So,
Do you want to schedule a time to have that conversation, or do you just want
oh
to
my
drop
gosh,
by?
I'm so terrible with schedules.
Okay, next
I think you
next
said
time
you
you
were-
have a chance and I'm on, at least
I was
drop
gonna
by,
say.
and I'm gonna clear out. You're gonna have the floor, and I'm gonna clear everybody out, and we're gonna hear that story.
Okay.
Because I've been wanting to talk to a honey badger, and I'm very interested in women's journey into supporting men. Like, because you have to see men a certain way to be able to give that kind of support.
Absolutely. Well, from like throughout my experiences, men have been great. They've been very supportive and heroic, and I've had very few bad experiences with men. So,
I think
and
that's a lot
natural.
of it. It just takes one man to spoil it for like one bad experience with one man to kind of color it.
Even if the couple that I've had, it's just like they're after meeting so many thousands of people throughout a lifetime. I mean, you can't expect every single experience to be good on either side.
Right. I say that about cops too.
Yes. Yeah. Same thing. Almost all my experiences were good, but I had one or two like really, really rough ones. Anton, do you have a channel? I don't think I've ever seen you up here before. So I don't know if you just frequent
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I'll
panels.
pop it in the
Yep.
chat, and
I
it's
got a
in the
channel
description
called.
too.
Yep. Jeff's
Oh,
throwing
it's
it
in
up.
the description. Okay, that'll
It's
make it
it's
easy to
called
find.
it's called Gold Becoming.
Gold Becoming.
Yep.
Okay, yep, I see it at the bottom. At Eagle Gold Becoming. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. Jeff, you were saying previously that you that you kind of like just come when the go live when the inspiration hits.
Lately, yeah. When I had my co-host, we were live at the same time every day. It was a very regular thing. But lately, it's easier for me to do it when I have time. I like to do it when I have like time to let it run, and I don't have somebody in the chat trying to pull me out like I do tonight.
Ooh, sexy.
Oh, wait,
Someone's talking about men wearing
is that a
capris.
mask? Oh, never mind.
Someone was talking about men wearing capris, so I just thought I'd
Oh,
Oh, is it
get in
Capri's?
the
I
style.
thought you were trying to, emulate what it's like to put on stockings. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. We all get curious from time to time, you know. I had to wear leggings for a production when we were doing Robin Hood, and I had to be one of the men in the forest.
Oh,
And,
do you do theater?
yes, I do some local theater around here, and that's kind of the community aspect that I'm
Oh, that's
involved with.
fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a thrill. But yeah, wearing those leggings, I can understand why women wear them a lot because they were definitely comfortable.
They feel good, right? And it feels like tight, keeps everything in, feels good.
Oh yeah, feel secure and free.
Yes, it feels secure. Exactly.
well, I think that's a good note to end on. I've been promising them in the Discord I would go
Okay.
give them some time.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
it was a
Sounds good.
good
Sounds
discussion.
good.
Thank you for having me on, Jeff. Good to talk to you, Ladybug.
Yeah,
Shameless.
nice to meet you. Thank you.
Anton, come back and let's do it again at
Yes,
any
sir.
time. And
Thank,
Shameless, I look forward to our conversation. Ladybug, thank you for coming up
Absolutely.
too.
thank you for having me. Sam,
Oh,
nice
is
to meet you.
Liliana gonna? It looks. If you send me the link, or I don't have her channel. I'll post it, and then everybody can go over there. I think Liliana's gonna continue
Liliana has
the
a live
conversation.
stream?
I didn't even know she
Yep,
had.
she said
I
she was
didn't even know.
streaming
I didn't even
earlier.
know she had a channel.
I thought she was messing around when she said.
Liliana, what? How do I find your channel? Let's see.
Liliana has a channel, Spike?
I can. I think I can get it from YouTube. Frank, I'm coming. Like 2 minutes. Let me wrap up here, and then I'll zip in there.
Oh, when you guys said 15 minutes, I thought Frank was going to come up on panel. Not that you
No,
guys were meeting.
he's just gonna get more and more misanthropic in the chat,
Is that
Oh.
are
and
you
more and
talking
more
about just?
antisocial.
Are you talking about just Frank?
Yeah,
He's kind of rude.
he's our troll. He's
He's a little bit rude.
yeah. He's everybody has to go through Frank.
Kind of hurt my feelings.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
I'm a girl.
To Liliana.
You got my new number, right, Ladybug?
No, silly.
I could have swore I texted
No,
you.
Discord me. I mean, hit me up at Discord. No, because remember we talked and then it wouldn't go through. Hit me up at Discord.
Okay, I will.
All right, sweetie.
Well, hey, I
Okay.
hope everyone has
It's
a good
the
evening.
Liliana at YouTube. I can actually. Hang on. I can grab it from YouTube.
Oh my god, please block Tyler.
I may.
God.
She's on thin ice.
Such a bellyacher. Like, God, stop belly aching.
All right. I think I have Liliana's channel now.
Hi,
Oh
Amanda.
wait, no, that's Spike. I somehow ended up on Spike. Anyway, I can't. It's the Liliana. I can't grab it
You
from
can maybe
StreamYard.
just mod her, let her link it, and then unmod her.
All right, I'll do that.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes that's easy. Sometimes I know I've done that before. It makes it a lot easier than searching all around while you're trying to run a panel.
Okay, Liliana, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna mod you real quick. You can drop the link, and then everybody could head over there and continue the discussion. Hey, Bex.
All right. I hope everyone has a good evening. I'm gonna log off. Thanks
Okay,
for
have a
having me.
good
All
one.
right, sweetheart. Nice to meet you, love.
I'll definitely sub and I'll check you out. I think we have a little bit of different
Yeah, check out Edit.
perspective,
He
but
does
it'll be
great
nice.
Yeah,
content.
I need his. Can you drop his link?
Yeah.
It's in the back, I think, I believe.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, is this the link to the actual stream? Here, she's live now. Here's the stream, and then I'll put Anton's.
All right. Well, talk to you guys later.
All right.
There, Anton.
Anton, thanks again. All right, there is the link to Liliana's stream. I think the party's gonna head over there, and there's Anton's channel, and I'll be out probably tomorrow. If I can't sleep after in a few hours, I'll fire another one up. But probably tomorrow. And oh, let me see. Is tomorrow Saturday?
All right, I'm gonna hop down. You close your out. You close yourself out.
Let's see. If PF Young is, I don't know if Paul's streaming tomorrow, but anyway, I'll be around sometime tomorrow. All right, take care, everybody, and see you later. Go check out Liliana's. All right, take care. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Good night, Kikalani.